Hey guys, this is ClefairyRox bringing you my first ever narrated Wi-Fi battle. And just like my last battle, this one is against a YouTuber who asked random people to battle in a YouTube comment. After informing this YouTuber, PickyPikachu, of his rudeness, I challenged him. He had requested a 6-on-6 singles battle, so that's what we did. To warn you now, I played terribly this battle. I mean, really badly. So without further ado, let the battle begin. So when there's introductions and all that, the whole starting scene, and he leads with an Espeon, I lead with my Mian Xiao, nicknamed Mia, like all my female Mian Xiao and Mian Fu. I start with U-turn, because I think I should be able to go first, and it does a whole lot of damage. And I do some Life Orb recoil, and then I decide to switch to someone who should be able to take the psychic attack. So I choose Serena, my Togekiss, because she's really bulky. But it turns out this Espeon is a dual screener, so it sets up its Reflect. And then it sets up its right light screen because it moves first next turn. And I use an Air Slash, but it does basically nothing. And then the Espeon proceeds to set up Calm Minds. So my next Air Slash ends up doing even less. Not quite a KO, which is really frustrating. Then Espeon uses Say Shock, and that ends up hurting quite a bit. Takes probably a little over a third, and then I use Air Slash again, but it misses. Just my typical bad luck. Espeon Psy shocks again, and that almost takes Serena out. I use Roost to heal up any damage. So Serena gets back to a more manageable level of health, and then I realize I won't be wanting to take another Psy shock. So this time I switch out to Roxas, my Victini, because he resists it and he has good defense. And just as I expect, he takes that quite well. And he takes leftovers recovery. And now I can finish off Espeon using Searing Shot, which knocks off the last bit of its HP, and I don't have to worry about setting up any fresh screens. So, take a little more leftovers recovery, and then he sends out a Politoed, which is Drizzle, because there's hardly any Politoeds that don't have Drizzle, and I don't have a safe water type switch-in on this team. It's a huge flaw. So I'm forced to Thunder Wave and sacrifice Roxas to the ensuing water move, which is certain in this case. And that's an easy one-hit KO, especially with the rain boost. So, poor Roxas. Good though. So the Reflect wears off, and I send in my Zapdos to probably force a switch. And that's exactly what he does. And he sends in his Terrakion, and while I go for the Thunderbolt. And the Terrakion takes it quite well, actually. And so, fearing a Stone Edge, I switch out. Oh yeah, I forgot it was Light Screen that was still up. So anyway, I switch out to my Slip Slide, my unaware Quagsire, and to the Stone Edge because he resists it. But that did a lot more than I was anticipating, so I'm starting to get really scared here. I'm not sure what fighting move he's going to use, but it'd be either Close Combat or Sacred Sword. And it's Sacred Sword, so it's a good thing I didn't curse. And instead I went right ahead for the Earthquake. And after all that Life Orb damage and with the lack of Reflect, Quagsire's Earthquake does KO, and I was very glad that he was able to survive the the Sacred Sword. So then, next up in line is a Thundurus, which is very common on rain teams. and Thunderous uses Grass Knot, and I decided to leave Slip Slide for fodder since he's basically dead anyways. So, poor Slip Slide, I love him so much though. So next I send in Zapdos, and I decide to go for the Roar because I was thinking he would use Sub or Nasty Plot, and then I forgot he might have Taunt. It turns out he did, and he ended up switching into Jirachi, so I ended up phasing Jirachi out and forcing Thunderous back in. And he recalls Thunderous again, not sure why, and sends in Jirachi again. And boy, this Jirachi ended up killing me later. But anyways, I Thunderbolted it, and it takes that decently well. Less than a third, I'd say. And so, this time he ends up using a Calm Mind while I go for Roar again, because I was thinking he might switch again. And it was a good move on my part, one of the few good moves I learned here. And once again, it switches into Thunderous. And so I go for the Thunderbolt again while he switches into Jirachi again. And Jirachi takes the Thunderbolt very well again. And then Jirachi uses Psychic on me. And it does a whole ton of damage because it crit me, which is more of my typical rotten luck. And I use Thunderbolt. And it does revive with just a tiny bit of HP, which is really, really frustrating. At this point, I really should have left his Zapdos in for Death Fodder, but I didn't. And I switched out into Serena to take the Psychic. And she takes it like a beast, because she is a beast. But what happens next is something I was completely not expecting. This Jirachi has Thunder. And that's an easy KO at Serena's current HP. And I was like, oh my god, this Jirachi is completely screwing me over. So it recovers a little more thanks to the leftovers, and I send in Mia. And this is one of the disadvantages I have at breeding. His Jirachi is timid max speed, but my Mia is not max speed. She does not have a very high speed item. So Jirachi easily one-shots Mia and takes her down. And all the while it's still recovering some more HP. So now I send in Ratchet, my Excadrill, and I didn't send him early as I wanted to save the air. And here Grass Knots me, easily outrunning. And I overpredicted. I thought he would switch into Thunderous, but he did not. He did not. Stayed in and took the Rock Slide like it's nothing. And here I make it really stupid. As he Grass Knots me again, I freaking Rock Slide again because I thought I would switch him. That was the stupidest thing. And I feel really dumb looking back at it now. So now I'm pretty much bonking my head for such a stupid move. And he Grass Knots me again, so Rat's easily keep one KO right, and I finally Earthquake to take down that Jirachi. But now, I only have 2 Pokemon left, both at very low HP. It's pretty much game over for me now. In a last futile attempt, I switch out Ratchet, anticipating a Grass Knot, and switch in Zapdos, thinking that he might be choiced. But he goes for a Hidden Power, and I'm like, oh, well, it's Hidden Power Ice. But it's actually not. It's Hidden Power Fighting, I believe. Considering it ends up being super effective later, I figure it's fighting. And then, but it's not choice. I reckon it has Expert Belt, and Thunderous easily finishes off Zapdos with Thunder. And then I send in Ratchet. Since I wanted to record this, I did not give in, even though I knew it was hopeless. And he finishes the battle with a hidden power fighting, it takes him out, and that's the game. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this narration, even though I probably did awfully. Anyways, great battle, PickyPikachu, and remember to comment, rate, subscribe, and challenge.